So it's like fixing the dream. Yeah, fixing the dream. Oh, yeah, there wasn't a problem in the first place. Oh, thank you. Beautiful example. Really great. Thanks, universe. Thank you. Lovely. Great. All right, so welcome. Day 27 it is. Um, welcome to this Miracle Mind meeting. And yeah, I actually want to start with a miracle prayer right away. That's what I felt coming up. And I found one that I can hardly wait to share. So that's another thing. So this is the prayer I want to start with. And that is this. Let every voice but God's be still in me. Father, today I would but hear your voice. In deepest silence I come to you, to hear your voice and to receive your word. I have no prayer but this, I come to you to ask you for the truth. And truth is but your will, which I would share with you today. Father, today I would but hear your voice. In deepest silence I would come to you to hear your voice and to receive your word. I have no prayer but this. I come to you to ask you for the truth. And truth is but your will, which I would share with you today. Today we let no ego thoughts direct our words or actions. When such thoughts occur, we quietly step back and look at them, and then we let them go. We do not want what they would bring with them, and so we do not choose to keep them. They are silent now. And in the stillness, hallowed by his voice, by his love, God speaks to us and tells us of our will, as we have chosen to remember him. Today we let no ego thoughts direct our words or actions. When such thoughts occur, we quietly step back and look at them, and then let them go. We do not want what they would bring with them, and so we do not choose to keep them. They are silent now, and in the stillness, hallowed by his love, God speaks to us and tells us of our will, as we have chosen to remember him. Let every voice but God's be still in me. And we're going to do that by being still. Let every voice but God's be still in me. Thank you. Thank you so much. So from this stillness we start, always to do everything or to not do anything. And so today we actually are going to take a look at the chapter of today, and that would be chapter 27. And it's the very first paragraph of the chapter that is sufficient. And you might have read it already, I don't know. But I love to share it and read it to you because it's full of biblical references. And in that, it is very, easily combined with what is being said in the Bible. And it's beautiful how that comes together. So this is from the Urtext of Course in Miracles website, and sharing with you this. See, the title of the chapter is The Body and the Dream. So that's an interesting title too, of course. But here is this. Here it starts with, and that's always so amazing to me. It's like it starts right away with Wambo here. The wish to be unfairly treated is a promise attempt that would combine attack and innocence. Like, I have nothing to do with it. Unfairly treated. No, they did that to me. So there's an innocence that is connected to it and an attack, and you try to combine the two. In conflict itself, you try to combine the two, thinking that they would fit in some way. Who can combine the wholly incompatible? Yeah, it's impossible. And make a unity of what can never join. Walk you gently way, walk the gentle way, and you will fear no evil and no shadows in the night. Now, specifically, this paragraph, this is only the first part, has like many Bible references, and I love to stand still with those because it is so beautiful to me how that comes together. It's like, who can combine the wholly incompatible and make a unity of what can never join? Now here, walk you the way, the gentle way, and you will fear no evil and no shadows in the night. And this refers to, say, Psalm 23 and the 4th verse. It's like, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. We know this, right? But it's a really beautiful reference, and it comes so nicely back into the course. Like, walk you the gentle way, and you will fear no evil, and no shadows in the night. Like, here's immediately also say first the impossibility is being shown, then immediately the comfort, like the place of reality. Here it's where it really happens. Walk you the gentle way. Say, no need to attack anything. No one is here unfairly treated. No, there's nothing outside of you. So there's nobody unfairly treated. You accept just that and walk gentle. Walk the gentle way. Walk in innocence, you could say too. So I want to play a song that is the song of Psalm 23. And you might have heard it before too, but it's also very comforting. And say, contemplate these words. Walk you the gentle way, and you will fear no evil and no shadows in the night. Yeah, so how great it is to feel this deep comfort of walking the gentle way, and fearing no evil. You are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. It's like you're with me. It doesn't matter where I seem to find myself, but this is always happening. I can always return back to that. That's happening in me. That's the only real thing that is really going on. So that was so great. I love that. So it continues here then. So it's like, okay, so walk you the gentle way, and you will fear no evil and no shadows in the night. But place no terror symbols on the path, or you will weave a crown of thorns from which your brother and yourself will not escape. You cannot crucify yourself alone, and if you are unfairly treated, he must suffer the unfairness that you see. If you are unfairly treated, he must suffer the unfairness that you see. See how that works? Like in Matthew. When they had twisted a crown of thorns, they but put it on his head and a reed in his right hand, and they bowed the knee before him and mocked him, saying, Hail, King of the Jews! You cannot sacrifice yourself alone, for sacrifice is total. If it could occur at all, it would entail the whole of God's creation, and the Father with the sacrifice of his beloved Son. Now here are some biblical references too. It's like Hosea. For I desire mercy, not sacrifice. That's one of the, say, revelations coming through in Hosea. For I desire mercy, not sacrifice, and knowledge of God more than burnt offerings. Like I'm not looking for any kind of offerings in that sense. No sacrifices asked. No, it didn't go for the knowledge of God. So Matthew. But go and learn what this means. And see, this is all great material for contemplation. I desire mercy and not sacrifice, for I did not come to call the righteous, but the sinners to repentance. It's like, I desire mercy, not sacrifice. It's like, I desire your gentleness, not a sacrifice of anything, not thinking, it's like, wow. So it's, to me, completely amazing how complete the text is. Like this was just the first paragraph, and I could only use, say, the first part. We could spend an hour with that. It's like the first part was just coming into the gentleness, coming into the deep sense of comfort. Like you can feel the comfort, but now you're going to dive into that comfort so deeply. It's like you could easily spend an hour doing so, coming really to the bottom of that feeling of comfort. It's like letting that so come to you, so deeply feeling that you don't know what to do with yourself. It's like all of this is in fact just pointing at an experience, not at a doing at all. It's like, no, this is pure realization. This is purely opening up to feel what is given. It's like to feel that completely, taking time to feel that, not anything else. So this is great. In those, say, on the 27th day, it is great to deeply allow yourself to feel the comfort of you having discovered that you can be in communication with your Creator. The you that know that you're so safe, like you carry that safety within all the time. There's nobody doing anything to you. There's nothing outside of you. We saw this the other day. It's like, well, the source is right here. That's where it starts. Like any of the hologram that I'm perceiving here in form and space and time, any kind of idea that there's something outside of me has its origin, my thoughts, my ideas, and not anything else. Like, it doesn't have any substance to it at all. It doesn't have any, say, reality, or it is not a fact. It is a reflection of what you are thinking. Simple as that. So that's a great discovery always. Well, like I said, you could easily spend a lot of time with that, in the sense of deepening your experience of comfort and of going so deep into that you will never ever have a question about it. You know, it's like, where am I looking for my comfort? Well, I found it. I found it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So will I forget it again? Yeah, sure. What is wrong with that? I can forget it too. That's great. So what is wrong with that? Now I can remember it again. Oh my God, it's so great to remember it again. Here it is. It didn't go anywhere. No, absolutely not. Of course not. It didn't go anywhere. It's right here with me. Oh, I just thought that somebody was attacking me, or that I needed to make a sacrifice in order to be whole and perfect. Like, don't stop kidding yourself. No, 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 not at all. Not at all. Ah, so great. Yeah, anyway, so continuing on with the miracle mind, with can you hear this? Well, you've heard this, right? Now we'll see what Master Teacher has to tell us here today. It is an interesting say part of it too, an interesting part of the talk. I'm just recalling it a little bit here, and one of the things that is occurring is, in fact, is like the recognition that everyone knows this. Everyone knows this. Which is really great.
Some of you guys I used to sing in the choir with, gently. La dee da da dee da da. Good. That ain't gonna hurt you. Oh, I wouldn't dare let you see that. Why not? I've seen everything. I mean, you guys got these deep things you keep bringing up. You're going, I better not let him see that. That's part of the process. You know, I better not do that. That's unforgivable. You've only got one thing that you think is unforgivable. That's the whole idea of you. And that's totally forgivable. So you guys are going through some very lovely experiences. Yeah, how can I teach them that? I want to show them that. Okay. See, everybody in the universe knows about this. You think it's a big plague. No, no. Everyone that needs to know about this knows about it, and that's everyone that needs to know. Either that or it isn't. It's impossible for you to call on anyone within this whole thought astral association without obtaining this if you want it. There is no conflict in it. You guys have been living in your astral thoughts where you're in conflict so long, you don't understand. They're just waiting for your instructions. You go through this scribe nonsense of listening to some other voice that has no more idea about the truth than you have. It's waiting for you to tell it what it is. You study your horoscopes to give you the answer. You're the horoscope. It's waiting for you to tell it what it is. How grateful they'll be, how loving they'll be when you forgive them your own thoughts. This Jesus describes this very beautifully. They can hardly wait for your forgiveness. You know who wants it the most? God. You can hear that, you're awake. There's a lovely sentence in the Course that says God asks for your forgiveness. Obviously, you think something must putting some thought into this energy because I want you to stay with the thought. Why? So that you won't come back down into this. Why? Because you begin to do that. Remember, this is in your mind, and then you won't do that. You'll come up to the same association. Then you'll say, gee, I want to be around this more. Then you'll say, no, now I hear what this says. Then your groups will change. Then how you're reading this will change. Then what you're doing with your own goals will change. It has to. God has given you that. That's in the course to change. Otherwise, you'd be stuck here forever. See, you have to be able to hear this. And it's that determination that's happened to you now, the incentive of the miracle. What's occurring to you now is entirely outside of your perceptual association. It appears to be perceptual, but it's a whole new arrangement of your light thought forms. It really doesn't compare to anything that happened to you, but it seems very familiar. It's something you've always wanted to hear. It's something that you remember. It's an ancient melody. It's ever so distant in your mind, yet you can hear it because it's always played. It's right here. You look beautiful. We'll take a little break and show you loaves and fishes. And they're having a lunch, right? How could it be 12:30? 12:30. I lost a lot. Did we start at 9 o'clock? 10, 11, 12. Oh, goodness. Should I come back? You guys can hang out? Oh, okay. 12:30, 1:30, quarter to 2. I don't know what I'm going to say. Well, I have to take my son. There's if it would be very nice if you guys would stay in this high identities. That is, it'd be lovely if you communicated with each other, but not in the mundane fashion that you usually do. Since that's what the falsity is, and the truth is that you're in an entirely different place and time than you were what you constitute 3.5 hours ago. You listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. This is a different time and place. Listen, if you let that be so in your mind, you will formulate this in a whole new relationship of time and space. I guarantee it. It has to be so. Okay, you'll still be in time, but it'll be a new association, a new later association in light formations. The problem I've had with this, I can't stop talking. Listen, the problem I've had with this depth is you're all coming from different times. And you don't have a central location in your own great rays. Some of your centers are later than others. Some are earlier. See? You're forging. So you know perfectly well meeting in an energy fashion, but some of them you met 6,000 years ago. A lot of you guys got Egyptian memories that are extraordinary. But many of you now are being afforded memories of your future meetings. That's what I'm giving to you. You can then take those meetings from 10,000 years from now, if you want to call it that, and make application to them in all the times that you've been associated throughout all of time. Why? All time is really going on at the same time. This is later than it was. If you can hear this, it would be very valuable to you. Why? I want you to hold this form. Okay? Every time you don't hold this form, you're just going nowhere. This is your salvation form. I want you to be you. Okay, it doesn't do you any good to look outside yourself for an answer to this. If you'll be you in this new energy, I'll handle the rest. That's the admission of your atonement. That will formulate up in here rather than trying to find yourself in the mutual location. You can't. You're too different in time. You know each other perfectly well, but the part of you that recognizes each other, there's another part that still is in conflict. That's why you can't communicate. I will be that communicating source for you if you let me, because that's what this energy is. It's a communicative device. Okay? And I'm teaching you to what? Be a communicative device. To bring all of those memories in so that we can hold them in the mandala. Jesus calls this the circle of at-one-ment, where each time we have a thought, it extends from us and becomes our associate perceptual reality in the objective definition of it. See, when that occurs, we have no conflict. That's love. Of course, it's love. Love is what? Communication. It's the certainty that we all come from the same source and we're all there together. That's the fun part of this. So you can have fun eating lunch. See if I can quit here now. You sure this is what we're supposed to be meditating to? Is my workbook up there? Yeah. How are we doing? Are we okay? Come on, guys. She wants a big bag. The music is this is Scobie. Bob Scobie, guys. From San Francisco. He went to Chicago. Listen. Started out with Lou Waters in San Francisco playing what they call San Francisco jazz, traditional jazz out of New Orleans. He was at the Dawn Club in 1949. You dirty guy, it's where you and I, it was me. Of course, I was only 9 at the time. Yeah. The Lou Waters sound, what you call the Lou Waters sound, was a particular ensemble of associate harmonics without a lot of allowance for spectacular musicianship. The requirement was to make the sound, and guys like Turk Murphy, who had Earthquake Lagoons here in the city for many years, is an alumnus of Lou Waters. Lou Waters quit playing trumpet and bought himself an egg farm in Petaluma or something. My San Francisco memories are very old. Of course, all of our memories are finally very old. And my Sacramento memories are more recent. So we're all memories. Some of you will discover that you've lost your grievance. You're going to lose your grievance in just a minute. And when it happens to you, it's impossible to express it to a grieving consciousness. You'll go to a family reunion tomorrow, and your sister and your brother and your ex, who has got the kids, or you, or whatever it is, will immediately begin to share grievous associations. They'll connect them to love, but the reminder will always be of the associate injustices that were done to them. This will always be true. To deny that this is true is to deny this teaching, because it's necessary for you to look at what your relationships really are. And this has nothing to do with whether they're good or bad. It has to do with the certainty that they necessitate mutual and attack and defense modality. They cannot not, because any opinion is a form of defense, and any rebuttal is a form of attack. And what you attempt to share in these relationships, okay, are mutual identities of attack and defense. This is the teachings of Jesus Christ. Now, perceptual mind presumes that that's the way of life. And when you went to the reunion, they're all sitting down reminding you, perhaps, of how your father beat your mother. Well, strangely, or whatever else occurred that caused all the trauma of your apparent present condition, which is what? Inherently traumatic. Strangely enough, a new mind, while it can remember the association, okay, of the apparent grievance, cannot identify it in the heat of perceptual value. Can you hear this? It's very easy to forgive if you can't remember the passion of the association. This is what will happen to your mind if you'll allow it to it. You no longer need to retain the value of the pain in that association, listen, in order to keep your own identity.
Yes, that's wonderful. That's just right. So great. Thank you, Master Teacher, for this what is given. So great. So the part that he ended up with is exactly lovely to continue to share about, you could say, and that is this is like before you could hear they went to lunch. You know, at a certain point you hear the microphone make a lot of static noises and all this. That was almost the end of the session in the morning. So now they had lunch and now they come together. We hear the San Francisco jazz and all this. But before the lunch started, he said, well, stay in this form. Like stay in the form of meditation, like the quietness that you are actually now into, that you recognize too. When we started this meeting, for instance, this online meeting, we entered in a certain, say, energy, you could say, and that sank down. That was quiet and deepened in its intensity, you could say. It's like there's a whole shift in energy. There's a whole new frame that we're entering into, and you find yourself in a different form, not specifically a three-dimensional form, but another constellation, you could say. Like you feel different about yourself. And that is really great. So he uses it a couple of times then. Coming back out of the lunch, he connects it to, say, grievances or, say, other social activities where you enter into. But the thing I want to, say, stay with for just a moment is this. It's like, you don't have to go out of this where you find yourself in now. You don't have to come out of this I can call it meditative state or anything. It's like, or what we read in the psalm, like the gentle way, you know, you can stay right there because you still have the same help with you. There's no need to adjust to what you think the world is. That's another thing. So it's like in that is communication possible. In this form is communication possible. Now, if we would say meet in the same place like we do now, if we meet like this, we communicate really easily, and it's not just because I mute the microphones of you, which helps absolutely. It helps you not to fall back into your human, say, habit of blabbing, of talking, of saying like, yes, I thought about that 2 weeks ago, blah, 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 my grandmother, my mother, my sister-in-law, my mother-in-law, my... See, all of this, it's like, all that you don't need. No, you can stay right here in this constellation of energy, like in this form. You can stay. You don't have to get out of it. You don't have to adjust to the world. and you will see how you will respond or how you can be present. Everything will be different. I speak from experience, like absolutely, absolutely, everything is different. But if you meet ones that are actually in the same, say, energy frame, it is so lovely. It is so great because the recognition is there instantaneously. There's nothing to explain. There's nothing to do anything. It's like, no, so here we are. And say basically you're open to receive what is given in this moment together. And that say increases the joy even more. So I've said that. Now here you go. And he gives the, say, master teacher, say, comes up with an example of you enter into a family situation, for instance. Suddenly you see your ex sitting there who got the kids, and you see this, and you see that. And there seemed to be an incredible change of, now if I recognize myself still in this constellation, it becomes very obvious who is, say, coming from an, say, grievance attitude. Now, I don't have to do anything with that. Forgiving it, you could say, but that is like I'm not even going to do anything with that. And that makes your presence completely different. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, there's nothing outside of you. No, you recognize the characters. You recognize the characters, but you don't identify with, he said it, with the passion of the events that have taken place. You don't let that rule anymore. So this can just be in a setup with meeting your ex, but it can also be with meeting some family members that you rather not see. And that has a memory. There's a memory connected to it. Also, there's, say, a passion reference to it. If you haven't let go of that, if you haven't that allowed to be healed, it might still come up and you might still think that you need to defend yourself. Now, this is what Master Teacher is sharing, and which is really lovely to be completely aware of when you enter into your family situation, your work situation, your whatever situation. Like, you don't have to lose this configuration that you're in right now. And like I said, it's okay to forget, because the memory back into the remembrance is totally lovely. Like how great it feels to remember again. Well, there's a fresh memory. Okay, wonderful, great. You know, so nothing is lost, in other words. So that takes away your, say, tendency to control this, or to keep holding on to this configuration. I don't want to lose it because then I'm back in my humanhood again. Like, no, don't worry about that. You will easily come back to it more and more easily. And that's a matter of practice and not being afraid. So then also it shifts really easily. And you start to choose, you start to stay more with yourself. And I know from the next part of the talk that we're entering into, I heard it today because I was uploading another batch of those. I know that it's going to be compared to a hippopotamus. It's like a hippopotamus doesn't want to be a buffalo. So what we're actually trying to say to let happen here is that you are yourself, no matter what situation you're in. And I really love that idea. Say, you know yourself. You come to know yourself, and it's okay to be yourself. Like, nobody's asking you to not be yourself. Comparison with the hippopotamus, like you don't have to question who you are. So the confirmation of who you are, let it come from within, and you're good to go. If you think that somebody else can define you, well, you would do the same as a hippopotamus. You wouldn't listen to it. It's like, I know who I am. I don't have to listen to that. That doesn't have to disturb my peace. I know I'm a hippopotamus. Knows about this. And it starts with this. It's like he starts to sing, and some of you guys I used to sing in the choir with, and da, 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 da. That's not going to hurt you. Oh, I wouldn't dare to do that, to sing. I wouldn't dare to sing in public or whatever. It's like, wait. Some of you guys have got these deep things you keep bringing up here. Oh, I'd not better let him see that. Or it's like you have your little secrets that you carry with you. Then especially when you're in front of like a light, somebody who's completely himself, that becomes very obvious that you're hiding something. I'd better not do that. It's unforgivable. Like, well, you've got only one thing you think that is unforgivable, and that's the whole idea of you, who you think you are. That's totally forgivable, and which is really interesting. So I share this with you. It's like, come out of this. It's like the one thing that I shared in one of the healing moments this week with someone was this. Is like, whatever you're going to share with me now, it's like whatever you're going to share with me now is not going to change anything about how I feel about you or how I see you. It's like, it's not going to change at all. Like, that has no influence in how I can take a look at you. It's like, I see you as the complete loveliness of the universe. Now, whatever you're going to share with me, your deepest secret, your unforgivable acts, and who knows what that is. Like, oh no, that is totally forgivable. No, I won't remember it, say an hour from now. I won't even remember it anymore. But anyway, it's like, no, that has no impact on the relationship. No, it's just that for you, it seems to be important because you carry it with you, being afraid to share it. But when you share it, it's like, oh my God, don't worry about it. Or it is like, no, that does not take away any part of your loveliness. Absolutely not. Now, this is exactly where Master Teacher here is referring to. So when the total loveliness is in front of you, and you feel so safe and comforted by say the shared moment together, you share this, and you share your unforgivable stuff, so to speak. You finally put it on the table, and then the loveliness is still looking at you as like, okay, when are you going to tell me the thing? Because what you just shared is totally forgivable. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't change anything about you. It's so great. So that's so lovely to have that exemplified, and to recognize that in yourself. It's like, no, that's not going to change anything. No, no matter how that would look. No, not at all. So I really love that. So I use this continuously, whatever you share with me. I can tell you that. See, everybody in the universe knows about this. You think it's a big place. No, no, no. Everyone that needs to know about this knows about it, and that's everyone that needs to know. Either that or it isn't. It's impossible for you to call on anyone within the whole thought astral association without obtaining this if you want it. There is no conflict in it. You guys have been living in your astral thoughts where you are in conflict so long you don't understand. They're just waiting for your instructions. You go through the scribed nonsense of listening to some other voice that has no more idea about the truth than you have. It's waiting for you to tell it what it is. You study your horoscopes and to give you the answer, but you forget that you are the horoscope and it's waiting for you to tell it what it is. How grateful they'll be, how loving they'll be when you forgive them your own thoughts. Jesus describes this very beautifully. They can hardly wait for your forgiveness. You know who wants it the most? God. If you can hear that, you're awake. There's a lovely sentence in the Course that's God asks for your forgiveness. I'm putting some thought into this energy because, and the other way around too, like putting some energy into this thought because I want you to stay with the thought. Why? So you won't come back down into this because you begin to do that. Remember, this is in your mind and you won't do this. You'll come up to this and you'll say, gee, I want to be around this more. Now I hear what it says and I want more of it. So in walking the gentle way, you could say, in fearing no evil, it is literally that you're open to forgive your brother instantaneously without, it doesn't matter what he's going to tell you. It doesn't matter what he thinks he has done. It doesn't matter any of these details, you could say. It doesn't matter at all. Because the state where you find yourself is a state of total forgiveness. It's a remembrance of this, light, this love that you are. So and then it's just only inclusiveness. It's like, no, it's not an exception. No, there's no exception to the love of God. No, and the love of God is what I share with you, and you represent that to me. So now, whatever you're going to tell me, it doesn't change anything. No, just please put it on the table, or release it as much as you can. And yeah, I'm totally willing to sit with you in that. Absolutely. It's like, share anything with me in that sense, because it is like, it's about you getting rid of it, so to speak. You not thinking any longer that it is a problem. You not thinking any longer that it's unforgivable. It's like, nothing is unforgivable. It's really like that. It's like, God wants you to do this. God wants you to forgive. So in this recognition, the healing takes place. See, but if you protect yourself in your communication with your brother, say bringing that back to an idea of sacrifice, like if I would attack my brother for any reason or feel a grievance coming up and actually wanting to attack, which is the same thing, if I still have that happening to me, then something is not right. So that's work for you, you could say. It's like, you can never be crucified alone, is what we read too. It's like, you can never be crucified alone. You can, when you attack, you're not only hurting someone else. No, you hurt yourself too. It's like you're in a construct that has nothing to do with love. So the healing part in it, coming back to yourself, is then recognizing your meditative state, calming your thoughts, you could say, going deeply within, feeling the comfort of that, allowing to sink deep into that. Now, whoever is in front of you, it doesn't matter anymore. It's like, it doesn't matter what is being shared, in what way even. It doesn't matter at all. I remember this too in my own, say, experiences. People being so incredibly, say, almost like violent, but at the same time it didn't touch me at all. It was like, oh no, that does not change my feeling for you, or the feeling that I see as the loveliness that you are. It's like I'm still completely seeing that. I don't, yeah, I will not hold it against you. Absolutely not. So the fun part is then the release can easily take place because there's an impossibility related to it, that you see that, say, it doesn't make any sense to try to protect it any longer or to defend it, or like all these actions become really like energyless. So the hardest thing maybe is just to start expressing it, or getting over your own idea that it's bad, or that it's not good, or not spiritual, or that it's not, you should be further. It's like it's only related then to your judgment about yourself. Okay, so this was essential to share just for the recognition. It's like you recognize this too, and you hear what Master Teacher says. You can hear it, and that makes you want to come back to it too. You want to stay. You want to come back into this energy, but you don't really know how to do this, except say showing up in a meeting, or sitting with yourself, or sitting with others in like where two or more are gathered in my name, I will be there kind of atmosphere. So that, yeah, that is what I wanted to share in terms of healing. Like, you don't have to come out of this. There's not another life that you have to live. Now you take this with you. It's like, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. They will lead me the way. It's like, just keep opening up and show me what to do, where to go, what to say, and to whom, what to ask. And most of the time it's just being still and letting it happen. And when you do that and stay in your low, in your gentleness, you could say in your high, in fact, staying in your gentleness, you see that the healing takes place by itself, just by you, allowing it to happen. It just happens by itself. There's no doing connected to it. So, yeah, that's so great to experience that. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for this part so far. Maybe I'm concluding with a miracle prayer too. Let me remember God created me, 260. Father, I did not make myself. Although in my insanity I thought I did, yet as your thought, I have not left my source, remaining part of what created me. Your Son, my Father, calls on you today. Let me remember you created me. Let me remember my identity. And let my sinlessness arise again before Christ's vision, through which I would look upon my brothers and myself today. Now is our source remembered, and therein we find our true identity at last. Holy indeed are we, because our source can know no sin, and we who are his sons are like each other, and alike to him. Like, we're not focusing on differences, no, on equality. How holy indeed are we, because our source can know no sin, and we who are his sons are like each other, and alike to him. And it's also, in that sense, unchangeable. Thank you so much for being present here today. Great to see you here. Thank you so much.